But first, we begin with that breaking news from overnight. One of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded in history, triggering tsunami waves and alerts in Hawaii and also along the West Coast. 8 magnitude and hit just off the coast of Russia. And take a look at this, too. Surgeons trying to keep their patient and equipment safe during a procedure as the building violently shakes there. It's unbelievable.
О, смотри, как с огнем.
Dangerous and huge. It's like actual stones are falling from the sky. Although locusts are relatively small, their impact can be devastating when they swarm in large numbers. These massive groups can inflict severe damage to farmland and crops. As you can see in the video,
Hello friends, I wanted to give you a little bit of what I believe is a prophecy update. I'm recording this early in August, the month of August 2025. And I know that most of you have seen a lot of things on the news lately about earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, all kinds of natural disasters. And there seems to be a real acceleration and a great amount of these type of events taking place not only just in America, but they're all over the world. And interestingly enough, over the past 30, 35, even 40 days, these events have been taking place on every single continent at the same exact time. So are these what the Bible calls the birth pangs? Now, I personally believe it is, and I believe that the birth pangs are intensifying. Just like when a woman is pregnant, and that's the reference that Jesus was using in Matthew 24, as recorded in Matthew 24, and in the course of Luke chapter 21, and also in Mark chapter 13. And I'm going to read some of these texts in just a second. But I believe that these birth pangs are intensifying, and they are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. And I believe I have the data to show that. And that's what I want to be able to share with you, is some of the data and some of the other things. I'm going to play some videos here in just a few minutes. I'm not going to keep this real long, but I just want to kind of go over this, and I just want to encourage you. When you see all of these things taking place, I believe the Bible teaches to look up, because our redemption is drawing close. And I believe that that's exactly what is taking place. So I want to read some things to you, then I want to share a couple things with you, okay? So in Matthew chapter 24, verses 3 through 8. And I'm going to be reading from the English Standard Version, and you can read it from any version that you may have. It's all going to read the same thing. The only difference will be in verse 8 will be in the more modern translations that I believe go deeper into the Greek. It'll say birth pangs. In other translation, it'll say sorrows. All right. Starting with verse 3. As he, and this is referring to Jesus, sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be?" And they're asking a specific item here. They're asking for something very specific. What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? Now that's very specific what they're asking. And Jesus answered them and said, "See that no one leads you astray." Or in some other version, "See that no one deceives you." Verse 5, "For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will lead many astray." So we already know that that is taking place at unbelievable levels throughout the church world. It is just absolutely skyrocketing. Verse 6, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars." We know that all of that seems to be on the rise as well. And there's always been wars. There's always been nations that have been fighting against each other. But it seems like now the biblical wars are starting to take place and starting to escalate. And I'm referring to the Middle East specifically. "See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place." This is all part of God's plan. This must take place, but the end is not yet. "For nation will rise against nation," again we're seeing that, "and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines." We're seeing that in different places on the face of the earth now. "And earthquakes in various places," or it could say in many places. So there's earthquakes that are going to take place pretty much all over the world, and the data shows that. Verse 8, "All of these are but the beginning of the birth pangs." So when you see all of these things start to take place, they're the beginning of the birth pangs. They're when a woman is about to have a baby. The birth pains they get more painful as she gets closer and closer to actually giving birth. That's where I believe we are today, prophetically speaking, in the last days of the church age. I believe that we're at that 9-month period where she's about to deliver the baby, and the pain is intensifying before the baby is born. That's where I believe we're at. But you can believe whatever you want. That's totally up to you. Now I want to read in Luke 21, verses 10 through 11. "Then he said to them, Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there will be great earthquakes in various places, famines and pestilence, and there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." Now I'm not going to go into the great terrors and great signs from heaven, but I believe a lot of that is starting to escalate as well. I think we have a lot of deceptions. I think we have, in my personal opinion, the whole UFO thing is demonic. I think we're starting to see demon activity escalate in that area, in the heavens, and they are causing delusions and all of these signs that people are going to look at and think that there's a higher intelligence, which there is, and that's God, but from other planets. And I think that's going to be another whole great deception, which I won't go into on here. But here, specifically in Luke, there's a reference to great earthquakes, higher magnitudes that are going to be just absolutely devastating. And I want to share this with you. Back early on, when I first became a Christian, I started to immediately have an interest in Bible prophecy. And it was one of the things that I had never heard of being in the secular world. I never heard of these things. So that one of the first church services that I went to, where I heard somebody speaking about the Lord coming back, it immediately put a hunger, a desire to know those things. So I really started to begin to have a deep dive into the scriptures, and I've been studying this for over 40 something years now. And I want to share this with you, that one of the things I was interested in was earthquakes. And I heard somebody preaching from Matthew 24, and it just intrigued me. So and this was way back before the internet, and this was back, or at least I didn't have the internet and didn't have a computer at this time. In 1995, I wrote the Department of Interior, and this is, I still have it, okay? And you can see the date on there. I'm going to put that up close so you can see it. And then there's the date right here. And this was to me when I lived on the south side of Atlanta. And this has in it all the information that you can now get on the internet. So now you don't have to mail them and ask for this information. You can just download it yourself on your computer, or pull it up. You can Google it and you can get a lot of this information. But one of the things that intrigued me was when they sent this to me, they sent this, which is the largest earthquakes ever recorded in history. And believe it or not, they can go back to the 1500s, and they actually have historical information that can take you back to the 1500s and show you earthquakes from like 1.0 all the way up. And it's interesting when you look at all of the data, everything that they have, and today again, all of this is on the internet. You have it broken down by magnitude of earthquake, where it took place, the date and the time. What's very, very interesting is that anything that was a 5.0 is considered to be a major earthquake. And they can show you, you can go back and you can sort it out from 1500 all the way up to 2000s at the present day now. And you can see how many 5.0 earthquakes took place from 1500 to 1600. And I'm going to put this up on the screen so you can see it. This is my own research. It can be backed up by going to the Department of Interior, the U.S. Geological Survey. And when you look at it, it'll show you how many 5.0 major earthquakes took place in that 100 years, from 1500 to 1600, then 1600 to 1700, from 17 to 18, from 18 to 19. And here's the interesting part. When you get to the 1900s to 2000, you can see an escalation in earthquakes. Then when you get from 2000 to 2020, there's a huge increase in earthquakes. But the numbers were single, then it went to double digit, and it was about 2004 that it went to triple digit. And it just keeps escalating every year after that. All right, but here's something that's extremely interesting. Now you're looking at what I'm posting on the screen. Now just in the past 30 days, and this is the beginning of August, okay? So back in July, maybe the first week in August, there have been 455 earthquakes that register between a 5.0 and a 6.0. And this information is according to volcano discovery, and you can go look it up online yourself. And over the past 7 days, 426 earthquakes at a 5.0. So this is like unbelievable amount of escalation in these earthquakes, like never before in history. So now scientists will tell you that this is no big thing and that there's really not an escalation. Well, the data proves what they're saying is inaccurate. And it is actually showing, the data is actually showing that all of these things are on the increase. So folks, the big thing about this is that we are living in the last of the last days of the church age. The age of grace is about to go away. And what is the Bible talks about, the time of Jacob's trouble is just over the horizon. And that is about to start. And that is also known as the Great Tribulation period. That is about to take place. But I believe that the Lord is going to come back, and the trumpet's going to sound according to what 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 tells us. And I believe that the fulfillment of the bridegroom coming back to take his bride back home, to dwell in those chambers that he talked about in John chapter 14 is about to take place. And this is known as the rapture of the church. And I know that there's more and more people now that are just coming out and very rudely attacking believers like myself who believe in a pre-tribulation rapture. And I believe that's what the Bible teaches. Now, if you don't believe that, that's fine. We can love each other and disagree on that, but that's what I believe is the next event that's going to take place. And folks, I will tell you that there's things taking place in Israel and the Middle East now. You've got Hezbollah reaching out to Russia, asking Russia to put troops against the border of Syria and Israel. This is all leading up towards the Ezekiel war, Gog, Magog war. All the pieces of the puzzle are all starting to come together. So keep your eyes on Jesus is what I would tell you. Today is the day of salvation. If your heart is not right with God, today is the day that you need to do that. And it's very simple. All you need to do is realize you're a sinner and that you can't save yourself, but that you are asking Jesus to save you, to forgive you of your sins, to come into your heart, make you a new person. You can just call out to God. God will hear that, and He will redeem you. He will forgive you. He'll give you peace. What Romans chapter 5 talks about, that's what took place in my life. Romans chapter 5, verse 1. I immediately had the peace of God come into my heart. I knew I was justified, not by anything I could do, but everything that Jesus did for me on the cross. So friends, God bless you. Stay vigilant, witness to others, try to win others to Christ, and keep your eyes looking up, because our redemption is coming very, very soon. God bless you. Have a great day.
Arguably, one of the most commonly discussed natural signs in the end days is the dramatic increase of earthquakes around the world. Something that in geological time would be statistically unprecedented if it were actually happening during what many believe is the last generation.
That in the last days there'd be an increase in great earthquakes. Jesus used verbiage that means bigger earthquakes in unusual places. We're looking at things regarding, for example, greater hurricanes, greater typhoons, things that in nature you can sense that things are coming undone. And yet, if you looked at it naturally, you would say, well, this is due to global warming, or this is due to man's bad stewardship of the earth. But yet the Bible said as we approached the end, this is exactly what we would see, which, by the way, that preempts man's involvement.
The scriptures do tell us that earthquakes, specifically earthquakes, will increase in frequency and in intensity.
But wait a minute. Hasn't the U.S. Geological Survey, or USGS, gone on record to state that this is not occurring, that no such increase in earthquakes have been detected around the world?
Because this is such a debated topic, the USGS gave a press release saying that this was not occurring. As a result, we actually decided to take the USGS data, millions of data points, spent months downloading it, analyzing it, graphing it, studying it. The results were absolutely terrifying.
Despite what you may have heard in the past, this is the compiled data from the USGS from over the last 100 years. Keep in mind that we're not talking about the millions of microtremors that can now be detected from the distribution of more numerous and sensitive sensors, but strictly data from the larger earthquakes that can be felt by people beginning at 6.3 and up on the Richter scale that could be easily detected by early 19th century sensors from virtually anywhere in the world. This data shows what the USGS and other organizations do not want you to see.
It shows that the earthquakes are increasing in intensity and they are increasing in frequency. This is exactly the description that was prophesied.